So what's the difference between this iPad and this MacBook? They may seem to be the same, but just about 2 years ago, these products were not made in Vietnam, but now they are assembled and partly manufactured in Vietnam. This is something that just a few thought that could happen 15 years ago, but now it's happening, the manufacturing and assembly of Apple products in Vietnam. And there are two main reasons for that. Number one, Vietnam's foreign direct investment friendly laws, and number two, the US-China trade war, which made a lot of large manufacturing companies from the United States and other parts of the world move from China to Vietnam. So in this video today, we're going to talk about how you can do this process, why and which companies are moving into Vietnam, and how you can move your manufacturing to Vietnam. So hello, my name is Ken Duong, international and business immigration attorney with over 15 years of experience helping individuals and companies invest, relocate factories, get citizenship all over the world. But before we get into our topic today, I want to make sure that you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel in order to get all the updated information about residency, investing abroad, and also tips on how to retire in Vietnam and other areas. So before we get into how to move your business and factories to Vietnam, let's look at some of the large businesses and manufacturers that have already moved to Vietnam. Over the past few years, many large corporations have been moving to Vietnam for the main reasons of low labor costs, attractive business environment, and also to hedge against the unpredictable scenario of the US-China trade war. In fact, many companies such as Samsung, LG, Intel, and many other technology companies have invested heavily into Vietnam. Samsung, since 2008, has moved over 4 of their 9 manufacturing plants to Vietnam and have invested over 18 billion US dollars of investment, and they'll continue to be the largest investor. Secondly, in 2020, Foxconn, the largest manufacturer for Apple products in the world, has started to manufacture iPads and MacBooks in Vietnam as well. So you can definitely see the trend of large technology companies investing and also opening up manufacturing in the Vietnam market. And most recently in 2022, Lego, the largest toy manufacturer in Denmark, has moved its manufacturing facility to Bình Dương near Ho Chi Minh City. One of the main factors why manufacturing is moving to Vietnam is the low labor costs. So in comparison, Vietnam is paying the factory workers $2.99 per hour, while in China, that's almost 3 times at $6.50 per hour. Also, as an example, in 2021, Nike has manufactured 51% of their shoes in Vietnam, as opposed to only 21% in China. Infrastructure development is a key part of the manufacturing process. So therefore, Vietnam, although not at the level of China in the rate of roads, airports, and seaports being built, however, Vietnam's big project of 5 billion US dollars for the North-South Railway Expressway is already coming into play, and they're connecting the various parts. And that will change a lot on the infrastructure and supply chain to help manufacturing in Vietnam. So another factor is the US-China trade war that started during the Trump administration and continues during the Biden administration, whereby goods that are coming from China into the US are import taxes and tariffs and higher regulations, which increases the cost. But this is a great opportunity for Vietnam to be a global player in manufacturing. In fact, in 2022, the FDI into Vietnam was $22.8 billion, but expected in 2023 to become $34.8 billion of foreign direct investment. We made a video on the 2023 Vietnam economic outlook, so you can definitely click on the right-hand corner to watch that video to see what our predictions on the trends including manufacturing. So now that we know why companies are moving to Vietnam, let's look at the specific industries that are moving manufacturing. First, Vietnam's garment and textile industry is rising and becoming a major player in the world. Currently, Vietnam is ranked second in the world in the production of leather and footwear. In fact, Vietnam produced 1 billion pieces of shoes and footwear to export to the world, and the EU takes a large proportion of that. In 2022, Vietnam's textile, garment, leather, footwear industry accounted for $71 billion of its GDP in spite of the economic challenges and also the economic downturn. Number two, the electronics sector. When manufacturers such as Samsung, Intel, LG, and also many others, Vietnam has become a global player in the electronics manufacturing in Vietnam. As of 2022, the electronics output and export for Vietnam accounted for 55.54 billion US dollars, which is a year-on-year increase of 9.3%. Number three is due to the US-China trade war, many of the products manufactured in China exported to the US are heavily taxed, thus increasing the price, which makes it more reason why the manufacturing has to move from China to Vietnam. So if you want to move your manufacturing in Vietnam to lower production costs, you also want to know what type of investor visas are available. Our team of experts at Duong Global have helped hundreds of companies move to Vietnam and get the right investor visa. So don't hesitate to contact us for more details. So when is the right time to start moving your manufacturing to Vietnam? So for me, the time is right now to invest into Vietnam. Vietnam's economy has rebounded very well during the pandemic and now afterwards, and many startup companies have moved to Vietnam. Also in the lower end manufacturing such as textiles, footwear, garments, and of course Nike, Puma, Adidas, and others already here. But you should also look at the high-tech or higher technology investments in Vietnam as well. And that's why Samsung, Intel, Apple might be also moving here as well. And you got to look at the labor force, the skills that are available in Vietnam right now to get to a level of higher tech manufacturing. So if you are a high-tech manufacturer, definitely take a look at Vietnam right now. So one of the important factors of moving your manufacturing is the location. So if you look at provinces that attract a lot of investments are Bình Dương, Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, Bắc Ninh, which are where some of the bigger companies like Samsung, Intel, and of course Lego as well. So the Vietnamese government has approved a $2.5 billion investment for manufacturing, and they have increased that as well, up to $6.5 billion for Lego and other manufacturers to establish in Bắc Ninh. So there are a few factors in choosing the right location for your factory. Number one, looking at infrastructure development. The industrial parks that you're placing your factory in has to be near roadways, airports, and seaports in order to transport and your products out, also to get your raw materials to the factories as well. So looking at some of the well-developed industrial parks, such as the Vietnam Saigon Industrial Park, the Hoa Lam Park, the Bắc Ninh Industrial Park as well, and many of the others that are very close to the infrastructure, and they were built in order to increase the supply chain and increase the cost of logistics for your factory. Number two, the labor force. So Vietnam has a relatively cheap labor force for factory workers, ranging from $125 to $180 per month in the countryside. However, if you move closer to the big cities like Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, Vĩnh Phúc, or Phu Tho, then you will look at a higher rate for those particular factory workers. And also, managers will make between $500 to $1,800 per month. That will help you budget your labor costs. Number three, looking at the tax exemptions or preferential tax rates. Vietnam, similar to other Southeast Asian countries, have been improving their tax regimes, especially in foreign export zones or industrial parks, in order to attract foreign direct investment. And there are three types that they use. The first one is lowering the taxes on the imports of raw materials or the export of the good, which will decrease the price of the goods. Two, the lowering of the corporate tax rates for companies, where they'll lower 5 to 10% of the rates that are applied to other companies. And then finally, exemptions on land and land rents. You can get reduced rents, and by working with our team of real estate experts at Duong Global, we can help you find the right industrial park with the best land rents and also possible exemptions or discounts for 3, 5, or even 10 years. So after understanding your preferential tax rates, now you need to decide whether you can open up an LLC, a corporation, or a rep office. And in order to get that process going, we have another video that tells you the specific requirements. But mainly, you need to get your enterprise registration certificate, or what's called the ERC, and your IRC, which is your investment registration certificate. After getting the company formed, then you just need to apply for your tax ID and then open up your bank account to have a fully established business in Vietnam. So once you open up your factory, then you can get what's called an investor visa, DT4 to DT1, depending on the size of your factory that you plan to open in Vietnam. We actually have a great relocation package that comprises of 3 components to help factories open up in Vietnam. Number 1 is the market research to understand location, size of a company, and which industrial park to invest in. Number 2 is the exploratory trip that you'll make, and we'll set up meetings with factories, meetings with industrial parks, and also government officials. And then finally, number 3, once you identified where you want to open up your factory, we will handle the legal structuring and work with the accounting team to set you up in your factory. So U.S. companies should definitely look at working with strong law firms like ours and accounting firms, real estate industrial park teams to help you find industrial parks, and also construction teams to do the build out of your factory. Aside from locating the factory, we will also help you with distribution agreements, supplier agreements, partnership agreements, shareholders, and other legal work, including connecting you with accounting firms, HR firms, and also real estate firms that will help you complete your factory move to Vietnam. So relocating your factory to Vietnam is not easy. However, if you have the right team of experts and also a very good plan to move, then it becomes a very simple process, so you can start achieving lower production costs and manufacturing. So what are you waiting for? Vietnam is ready for you. Duong Global is ready for you. So let's move your factory to Vietnam. So what do you think about today's video? Understanding on how to move your manufacturing to Vietnam and other important news. So as always, my name is Ken Duong. Thank you very much for watching this video. But make sure you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, click on the bell for notifications, and also comment below if you've already made the move or you plan to make the move to Vietnam, and let us know how we can help. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.